What's going on, people? This is Veal from thejesseveal.com. Should black men get their passport and travel? On the anniversary of my passport acquisition, let's talk about it. See, 2009, I first received my passport at 18 years of age. Final year in high school. And I went on my first trip outside of the country. I went to Freeport, Bahamas, and I went to Nassau, Bahamas at age 18. It is extremely important for black men to get their passports and start traveling outside of the country. Now, I know most black men have the idea that countries outside of the U.S. are in extreme poverty and that it is extremely expensive to travel. And I will tell you straight up, that's not true. It's a myth. Now, it is extremely expensive to travel depending on where you're going, right? Like it's expensive to travel to Asia from America. It's expensive to travel to Brazil. And the most expensive thing, so the most expensive thing about traveling in all cases is going to be the flight itself. And that's like, going to places like Brazil and parts of Asia. Most flights to Africa are under $1,000. You can usually get a flight for under $1,000, and you should usually only get a flight if it's under $1,000. Most flights to the Caribbean and Canada and Mexico, Cuba, Dominican Republic, El Salvador, a lot of poor countries, not Canada, but the others, those flights are going to be really inexpensive a lot of the times. And so on the poor aspect and the aspect of people thinking it's dangerous, yes, there are poor parts in all countries around the world, but for the most part, there are people, even in countries that are much poorer than the United States. Understand that there are parts in every country, almost every country in the world, where there are people living in the major city, in the downtown area of the major city, that are much richer than you are. Believe it or not. If you go to Accra, Ghana, if you go to Lagos, Nigeria, if you go to the capital of India, there will be people there in those major cities that, in most cases, for most people, they make have a net worth, so they have an income and a net worth that supersedes yours. So yes, there are definitely, the United States is definitely one of the richest countries, if not the richest country on the planet. But there are poor and rich areas all over the planet. Now, Why should you brothers be getting your passports? Why should you be researching travel, how to get inexpensive flights, where to stay, where to go, etc., etc.? I mean, the reasons are numerous, right? So, for one, it's going to broaden your horizons. See, when you live in one country, especially when you're stuck in one city and don't really get outside your neighborhood or city or state, you're basically in a bubble, right? Like, you're literally in a bubble. So let me get metaphysical on you real quick, right? So in metaphysics, in spiritual systems, there's something called an aura, or an energy field with human beings. Okay, so each human has an aura that goes out, a certain amount of feet, and it's basically composed of your energy. Now, this is not this. These aura fields can be seen by certain people. They can also be picked up by certain energetic measurement tools that are used by, let's say, scientists or people that are into science as well as spirituality. But what I theorize is that the combined aura fields of people living in the same house creates an aura field for that house. The combined aura fields of the particular houses in a neighborhood create the aura field or the energetic field for that neighborhood. Those aura fields for that neighborhood creates the same for that part of the city, and those aura fields for those particular districts in the city combine to create the energy fields or auras for the city, and so on for the states that combine the cities, and so on for the country that are combined by the states. So when you go to certain countries, when you go to certain cities, you feel and you're able to distinguish between the energy of those particular areas. So, if you've ever been to New York City before, you'll understand that as soon as you get to New York, you feel that New York City energy. You feel that hustle, fast pace, stressful, aggressive, just go get 'em energy. That uptight East Coast energy, you feel that. Now, if you've ever been to LA before, it's the same thing on the opposite spectrum. When you go to LA, you feel a very calm, serene, laid back, just a casual vibe type energy, and you feel that when you go to LA. And so likewise, when you go to cities around the world, it's the same thing. It's a distinct, specific, personalized energy to the local area that you're visiting. When you go to Nassau, you feel that in Nassau. When you go to Freeport, even though they're in the same area of the Bahamas, they're in the same country, you feel the distinct energies between those two cities. When you go to Toronto, Canada, you feel that. When you go to Mexico City, you feel that. And not only that, but you get to see different perspectives. You get to see different mindsets. You get to see different behaviors from the locals. Because when you go to different cities, when you go to different cities, they have their own way of speaking, their own way of talking, their own dialect. Even if they speak English, they have a different dialect of English. They see things differently, they do things differently. Like when I'm from New Orleans, right? So when you come to New Orleans, you see what I'm saying? You that you're in New Orleans. You know what I mean? Like I try my best to talk as proper as I can on my videos and when I'm doing business, because I did have to live in another state due to Hurricane Katrina during my high school years. And so people would tell me, you know, we don't understand what the hell you're saying. We know you speak in English, because New Orleans accents, and particularly where I'm from in New Orleans, the Ninth Ward, downtown Ninth Ward, New Orleans, which is you know, it's a ward political system, like a particular area within New Orleans that's composed of various neighborhoods. It's an extremely thick accent, and a lot of times, unless I'm around other New Orleanians or I'm, you know, under the influence of something like alcohol, you're really not going to see, or I mean, you're really not going to hear that thick accent. So another reason is it improves your social and communication skills. See, when you're in another country, like I said a few moments ago, even with people who speak English, there are various different dialects of English. There's various different accents. So sometimes from different particular countries, it may be hard to understand what they're saying, even though they're saying or speaking in English. And so what this does is, if you cannot really, and even the same to a more I would say to a more to a more crazier, or more so to the degree in terms of someone that doesn't speak English, you'll have to lean on this even more. So you actually, so in this case, it improves your social and communication skills, because you have to listen more than you would in your own local setting. You have to pay attention to the body language of the person. Like when I've been to cities where they don't speak English, and I've dealt with people in general, but women in particular, those women communicated with me through body language, through smiles, through winks, through leaning in, through touch. You see what I'm saying? And so, you know, body language is a invaluable social tool to be able to communicate with people, in social life in general, but particularly, you know, in business, and even more so in times of survival. You know, when you study body language, you can kind of tell what people are going to do in many cases before they do it. Like, you know, if you get into an argument with a guy and you see his fist clench up, you know that he's about to try to punch the hell out of you. If you're, you know, talking to a woman and, you know, she has a glaze in her eyes, or, you know, she's touching you on your shoulder or touching with her hands or what have you, you know that she's interested in you, right? You understand that. You see what I'm saying? So very much an invaluable skill, and this would definitely, you know, help to improve your communication skills, right? So another benefit to having your passport and traveling is, you know, something about traveling, it helps you to get original and creative thoughts. I don't know what it is exactly. I haven't exactly understood, but it's something about putting yourself in a new environment that just kind of helps to generate creativity. It's like you're getting outside of your comfort zone, and this can apply to, you know, it's not even specific to traveling outside of the country, but just traveling outside of your city or what have you, and getting within a new energy. Also, you know, you get outside of your comfort zone, right? It's good as a man as a black man to be outside of your comfort zone and to feel something different. Another benefit is you get to see how others view black people, right? Now, I will admit that there are racist people around the world, people that are racist to black people all around the world. But, you know, there's probably people that are no more racist to blacks than, you know, English or American white people, right? So even whether they're racist or not, I mean, I'm not saying go to a country that is, you know, known for having racist rhetoric or what have you against black people, or go to a city, because, you know, it's really based on the cities. Some cities are more liberal, left-swinging than others. But, you know, I'm not saying to do that. But what I am saying is, it's good to go to other areas and see how women perceive you as a black man. An personal example for me personally, you know, Toronto, Canada is one of my favorite spots. There's a huge Caribbean festival out there in Caribana. And I remember I went to Caribana in 2009, right? That's my first time going, right? I've been several times since. But so I went to Caribana, and actually, so correction from earlier, I actually got my passport in 2008, actually. 2008 was my senior year in high school. That's when I first got my passport. But when I went to Toronto, so Atlanta, right? Atlanta was the first city that I went to where I seen like a lot of really feminine, enthusiastic, demure, receptive black women, right? Not to say that I didn't have in any other cities, but it was just the experience I had in Atlanta when I lived there. It was a large amount of those type of women. But there was still things that you can attribute to American black women or African American women in the United States, right? When I went to Canada, it was like, wow, like the women there treated me with so much love. I had so many women choosing, like I damn near lost my mind, and the energy from the women was extremely feminine, right? And there are women out there that are masculine and westernized, right? But I would say this was the first city I went to where it was like, so let's say it like this, right? My experiences in the United States, being from New Orleans, where a lot of women are extremely masculine in New Orleans, I would say in New Orleans, 80% of the women are masculine, 20% are feminine. But when I went to Canada, when I went to Toronto, it was 20% of the women are masculine and 80% of the women are feminine. I mean, it just was, these women were so cooperative and soft and ultra feminine, just to more. These women would pay me. These women would pay for my lunch, pay for my drink and stuff, and I've never really experienced that to that level before, right? And they would, really choose on you harder than I was getting choosed on in, New Orleans or elsewhere in the United States, with the exception of Atlanta. I mean, even though I did have a lot of women choosing me in Atlanta, it was even crazier when I got to Caribana. You see what I'm saying? And it's very important to see how not only men or people in general, but specifically how women look at you as a black man around the world, because black women most black women in the United States have some type of contempt toward black men. They have a sense of overinflated ego, and they're not humble and very arrogant in the United States, and they believe they're God's gift to men in the United States. And this is not all African American women, but a vast majority. I get this, and I did a video on my YouTube page called black female ceilings and black male lows, or black male floors, where I talk about this attitude that these women in the United States have. The majority, not all. And when I went to Toronto, when I go outside the United States, they don't have that attitude. They don't have that mindset. When I go outside of the United States, the majority of the women I experience, these women are extremely humble. It is, the crazy part is, these women actually are about 3 to 6 levels of attractiveness higher than the women in the United States that have this arrogant ass attitude. And that's what's crazy. It's like in the United States, you see a black woman that's a damn 5 or a 6 that thinks she's a damn 10. When you go to other cities outside of the United States, you see black women that are, and women of other races too, right? You see black women that are a damn 10, a 9 or a 10, that have the humbleness that a 3 or a 4 should have. So that's real crazy. But you hear this bullshit about no one wants black men outside of the United States, and all my brothers that are ex-military and the brothers that travel, that's bullshit. You've experienced how easy it is to get women outside of the United States, how much love they show, how much cooperation they give, and etc., etc. And so, yeah, brothers, you have to understand, you have to get out of that bubble and understand how women outside view you compared to black women. Because if you go by how black women in the United States view and talk about black men, niggas ain't shit. You niggas aren't on our level. You're not getting as much degrees as us, and da. This will stress you out as a man. This is the reason why so many black men have low standards in women, because their goddamn hood rat ass mothers, single mothers that raised them, have battered their self-image since they were a damn child. So when they become an adult, they're just happy just to be getting consistent sex. Shit, some of them not even that. But when you go to outside of the United States and you travel and you see how the women are acting towards you, man, your tolerance level, like my tolerance level, is better than most red pill men. But in comparison to the average black man, if the average black man had a tolerance level of 100% of the shit they pull up with, my tolerance level was maybe at about 20%, right? If you heard that Will Smith Jada interview, I handle stuff like Will Smith said he did in that interview. Like, I would smack you up in the head with a damn newspaper. I will break up with your ass that day and never talk to your ass again if you're disrespectful to me as a woman. I will check you. I check women all day, every day. Other women with their mind right have told me, like, you really go in on these feminists, and I respect it, yada yada yada, and other men as well. So yeah. Now, another benefit of traveling is to being able to see the beautiful environment, right? Most of the beaches in America are pretty dirty. So with the exception of like Miami and parts of California, all the other beaches are like brown water beaches. They're not clear and blue and green like Miami is. So you get to see the beauty of the environment. You get to see the other things that they have going on, the other things that people are into around the world. Just a different perspective. Like there's things that they do in other countries that they don't necessarily do here. Like my first time going to Toronto, Canada, I went in a store, and in the store's basement they had clothes, and right next to that was some damn marijuana plants growing. You know what I'm saying? Just things like that. When you go to Mexico, they do a lot of cockfighting in Mexico. And there's particular things, and those are just examples of things that would never really pop off here in the United States to that level. Also the women, the women, man, the women. And I wanted to put some things above the women, because you shouldn't travel just to hook up with women, man. That should not be your primary focus. The women, just dealing with the women, being able to see the differences in their personalities, being able to compare and contrast them to women, because it gives you a better overall idea about women. If you go strictly by westernized women, masculine women in the United States, whether that be in black, white, or otherwise, you're going to have an entirely misconstrued view of women, womanhood, and femininity, feminine energy, and if you want to go to the primal spiritual level of this thing. I mean, for one, that it depends on the country, but there are particular countries where women are just much more in shape physically, right? Black women in the United States, 80% are overweight. I think it's like 60 something percent are obese by the United States, by the Center for Disease Control, right? Those are the stats. Look them up. 80% overweight, 60 something percent obese. Now, when you go to certain countries around the world, I mean, those women, stay tight, man. Like, they look like, they have abs and flat stomachs, and I'm not going to lie. In places like Brazil and Colombia, there are a lot of women that do get ass implants, you know what I mean? But, you still have to work out and stuff to not only maintain that, but to maintain those flat stomachs and those slender, semi-muscular arms and what have you. These women in a lot of these countries really do cater to men. My one of my exes was a Brazilian woman that lived out in Marietta, Georgia, when I lived in the Atlanta area. And even though she was born in Brazil, and I think she lived there for most of her life, but she had been in the United States for at least 4 years, and she definitely catered to me, right? And at that young age, I was only about 18, 19 years old. I thought that was indicative of all women, right? Because I didn't really have any real relationship experience prior to her, right? Before then, it was just more so like high school puppy love or sexual type thing, where it's just like, we didn't really talk or we didn't really experience each other. We just had sex. You know what I mean? So, but this was the real, like, okay, we actually having deep, interesting, meaningful conversations, and she's actually having to do things for me, like cook for me. And one time I remember I cut my finger, and she seemed so concerned. Like, she went and got the first aid, patched me up, and really just took care of me, man. When I was injured, like the level of concern that she showed, Like I never experienced that before. You know, like most dudes listening is probably like, you know, and I'll say this, you know, if that would have happened with an African American woman, not all, but most, 8 out of 10 times, they probably would have brushed it off, not even acknowledged it, and not have done shit to try to help me. They would probably have expected me to do that myself, where she jumped immediately. Was, you know, she was just shocked and concerned and went straight to the first aid and asked me, am I okay? Does it hurt? And, you know, took care of that. And, you know, at my dumb young age, I thought that was indicative of what women were in general in the United States. And, you know, I quickly learned that that wasn't the case. So, you know, and, you know, just the fact that these women outside of the country are feminine and are extremely attractive, they keep each other up, particularly in places like, you know, Brazil, Colombia, and, you know, etc. You have to experience this, and I'm gonna tell you why. So if you're a feminine man, if you're a feminized man, you know, this doesn't apply to you. But if you're a masculine man and you've been dealing with masculine women most of, if not all of your life, the first moment that you experience a feminine woman, you're going to lose your goddamn mind. I'm telling you. You're going to want to put a baby in this woman. You're going to want to marry this woman. And you're going to be like putty in her goddamn hands. So you need to, as a masculine man, you need to experience your first relationship, whether it's monogamous or not exclusive, non-exclusive. Doesn't matter. You need to experience a feminine woman in a relationship as soon as possible, so that you're not turning into ultra simp with these damn women. Because, and don't talk about if the woman's extremely attractive as well. You're gonna be under goddamn mind control, like Vegeta was with that little green bastard from Dragon Ball Z Majin Buu series. Goddamn it. You're going to be under mind control. And if she has fire sex as well, just forget it. You're going to be a slave. Like, you're going to... So to understand about feminine women, man, their energy attracts masculine men and is extremely powerful. And vice versa for her when she experiences a masculine man. As they say, when they say opposites attract, this is what they're talking about. Masculine and feminine energy, negative and positive energy. You see what I'm saying? Those three combinations are going to just have your ass being a slave for these women. And you need to experience it as soon as possible so that you can maintain your consciousness. You can maintain your dominant position, and you're not giving way to all of the demands of this woman. And I'm telling you what I know, man. Like, I've never had that problem personally because I have a strong will, fortunately. But for most of you brothers, this is what's going to happen. So you need to experience it as soon as possible and be conscious of it, and what have you. So, you know, finally, you know, and this probably should have been a first benefit, but I understand that the majority of you brothers aren't really, a majority of people in general, right? Not just brothers, but majority of people of any race, business people typically make up a small amount of the population. So the final benefit that I have for traveling abroad, getting your passport, is being able to foster connections and business relationships in other countries, right? that's extremely beneficial, because you can provide your services or your business ideas, things that they may not have, that they may have here in the United States, that they may need in those other countries, that nobody's willing to invest in that particular business or what have you. Like one of my elders, Airbnb in Cuba is, fairly new, and he met a peer his age in his late 50s, early 60s, and he struck a business deal with the man to set up and manage his home as an Airbnb in Cuba. And so, currently as it stands, he's getting revenue while living in the United States. He's getting revenue from that Airbnb in Cuba, right? He set up the cleaning and what have you, and he just pays the homeowner a certain percentage. And that's just one example. I mean, there's endless other examples of things that you can do business wise once you get on the ground and be able to connect with people and make connections. And I have connections in places that I visit to this day, whether social or business wise. And I will say that it's very beneficial to have those connections. Once you connect with people on a social level, I always start off with a social connection instead of a business connection, because a lot of times when it's business, it's going to stay business, but when it's social, you can translate that into a business connection in most cases, right? And I'll just give one more bonus benefit to traveling abroad and have your passport: being able to move around and have options in life, right? And when I say options, I mean options in all things. Being able to have options in scenery, being able to have options in food, being able to have options in culture, being able to have options in women, right? Options are probably one of the most powerful tools a man can have, because options give you the ability to walk away from bad deals. Options give you the opportunity to walk away from bad deals in anything, whether it's women, living arrangements, whatever it is. Like it's a powerful leveraging tool as a man. But that's it, folks. I hope y'all enjoyed the video. Again, this is Jesse Veal from thejesseveal.com. Fellas, let's get our passports in 2019. I really want to see the black passport usage go up with black men in 2019. See, I'll be going and traveling to several places next year. I haven't went anywhere this year, but I usually go to at least 1 to 3 places a year out of the country or in the country, what have you. But at least one place out of the country a year I try to get to. And that's going to start increasing as I get older, right? And as my businesses grow. But currently, black people have about 5% of black people have passports, and I want to see that grow exponentially with black men. I want to see that 5% number to go at least to 30% in black men, right? And be looking out for my next video. I'm going to be talking about a new movement that I've named that's been going on with black men such as myself, and been going on with me and other black men as well. And it's called, I'm calling it the Blaxit movement. So look out for that next video, and I'm going to break that down about the movement, the Blaxit movement that's going on between black men. Again, Jesse Veal from jesseveal.com. Peace.